Hey, what's going on, everybody on YouTube? Steve here with Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com, coming to you guys with another video. And in this video, I'm going to share with you my top 10 books to read for success, health, wealth, prosperity, and self-development. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know I'm big into education and learning, and I'm always looking to learn about new topics, within business, health, self-development, how to improve our lives, and it's something I'm really passionate about. So in this video, I've compiled my top 10 books to read, and this is going to really be able to help you out, not only in your life for, health and wealth and business, but it's going to really allow you to, increase your levels of happiness, self-confidence. You're going to feel like you have a purpose if you read these books. And again, I've got my top 10 books that I highly recommend. And also, I want to let you guys know two things. First of all, the comment section is on. So once I go through these top 10 books, I'm going to jump into the comment section. I'm going to shout some people out. I'm going to answer any questions you guys have about these books and whatnot. And also, I want to let you know, in the description of this YouTube video, I've provided you guys with links to all of these books. Now, I do want to say they are affiliate links, so if you purchase through it, I appreciate it. I'd get a small little commission, but I can guarantee you that I've read through all these books. They've helped me, and they could definitely make a difference in your life. So with that being said, let's dive into this live show. And let's talk about these books. I'm going to check the comment section real quick just to see if anybody is in the house. Just bear with me for one moment. All right, so let's jump into it. The first book that I want to share with you guys is a book called The Miracle Morning by Hale Elrod. And the reason why I put this book on the list is because when I started incorporating a morning routine into my life, waking up early, starting my day with a purpose, having a plan, that's when my life changed. I'm 29 years old, and for my first, 20, I'd say for my first 27 years of my life, I would wake up in the morning and I would just, I would just go with the flow. I would wake up and whatever came into my life, I would just react to, right? I didn't have a purpose. I didn't have a plan. I wasn't creating my day. I was just reacting. And that's a horrible state to be in, just reacting to life. I would wake up, I would check Facebook, I would check social media, I would check email, I would just attend to, whatever people wanted from me, I would attend to that. And, it's funny because when you go down that route, your day ends quick. You'd be halfway through the day and you're like, what did I accomplish? I didn't even take care of my health. I didn't take care of my top things in business. I didn't take care of this. I didn't take care of that. And you're like, why did that happen? And the reason is because you're not starting your day off with a purpose. In this book right here, The Miracle Morning, it's all about starting your day off early in the morning, like it says, before 8 a.m. and having a purpose. They talk about having a morning routine, and that encompasses, waking up and showing gratitude, going through meditation, reading your goals, exercising first thing in the morning. It could be different for each and every one of you, but I want to tell you guys right now, if you're looking to create a morning routine and really to understand the science and the reasonings behind it, this is a great book for you right here. I've listened to this book probably about 4 or 5 times on Audible, and it's an amazing book. It really is. And it's a lot deeper than just a morning routine. So I highly recommend that book. That book has definitely changed my life. And I'm just going to check the comments real quick to make sure everybody could hear me okay. All right, awesome. The second book that I want to cover is a book by a young entrepreneur named Peter Voogd. And the book is called 6 Months to Six Figures. This is a book that I've gone through probably 5 or 6 times. And at one point, my good buddy Dave Koziel and I were both reading this book at the same time. And we would actually go through the chapters and we would talk about the various things that we would learn. And one of the big takeaways that I got from this book, and I'm actually going to the table of contents right now, was shifting your circle of influence. And this is something that I've kind of battled with my whole life, was, surrounding myself with people who I wanted to be in alignment with. And what I mean by that is, say that you want to lose 30 pounds, or say you want to, have a fit, thin body, you want to be in shape, you want to look good, you want to feel good. Well, one of the biggest reasons why people never accomplish that, right? And this was me for the longest time, is because I was surrounding myself with people who were overweight, who were, weren't really exercising much, weren't getting outdoors, didn't really value health. And, that poured over into my life. And it's so big. It's not just for health, but, it's for business as well. If you want to make more money, you've got to surround yourself with people who are making more money, who are at that income level, right? And it's all about shifting your circle of influence, because who you hang out with is who you're going to become. We're creatures of habit, and if you're around people who are doing certain things, you're going to start to mimic that. And that's one of the big takeaways that I got from this book. Also, if you see chapter 6, The Power of Absolute Clarity, that is huge. That is absolutely huge. And we're going to talk more about that when we jump into the book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which is in my top 10 books. But having clarity in terms of exactly what your purpose is, in terms of, this is my intention for my business. This is my intention for my health. This is my intention for, my relationship. So big. I can't say it enough, but this is a great book right here, guys. I'd highly recommend it. 6 months to Six Figures. The book's main purpose is to help you to make more money and grow your business, but there's a lot of self-development stuff in here as well. And that's why it made my top 10 list, because it's not just about business. You could take a lot of these principles in this book and apply it to your life in other areas as well. So we have Blazing Beats in the house in the comments section saying, I was surrounding myself with people that were overweight. Yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens. It's so important to shift your circle of influence. It's huge, so big. And, I didn't lose weight. I didn't grow my business until I started to shift my circle of influence. So it's definitely something to consider. The third book, one of my best books that I recommend you read, and something that has really changed my life, is this book that I've actually just invested in. And I actually have the audio book. It's called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And this is a really cool book because, habits control our life. Many people don't realize it, but habits do control our life. And there's actually been a lot of studies done at the universities about habits. And there's been a lot of money invested into the studying and research into habits. And what a lot of scientists and researchers have found is that most of the things that people do, and I don't remember the exact percentage, I think it was like 30% or 40, don't quote me on that, but I'm just going to say this: most of the things that people do, they do it based on habit. Think about it. When you go to tie your shoe, why do you tie your left foot first, your left shoe versus your right? That's a habit. When you're coming home from work, why do you always take the same route? It's a habit. When you wake up in the morning, why do you decide to eat a donut versus deciding to have oatmeal? It's a habit. Why do some people, when they come home from work, the first thing they do is they strap on their running shoes and go out for a run, versus other people come home from work and they watch American Idol? Why do people do what they do? It's all habits. And this book talks a lot about how long it takes to create a habit, why people create habits, what habits are. And people, you hear the word habit and you think, yeah, I know what a habit is, but this book dives into it like big time in terms of like the whole science of the habit, why people have habits. And it also talks about businesses. It talks about not only do people have habits, but businesses have habits. You think of the big businesses like Microsoft or Amazon, different things like that. There's habits within everything, not only individuals, but businesses, animals. It's absolutely an amazing book. And I highly recommend you get the audiobook. I've been listening to this when I'm in my car driving. And if you guys don't know how to download audiobooks, go to audible.com and check that out. You can get the app for your phone and sync it up to your car via Bluetooth. But this is just a fascinating book. And this is one of these books that you can't just read it or listen to it once. I mean, I'm going to have to go. I've only gone through this thing one time, but I have a feeling over the next couple of years, I'll be going through this probably 4 to 5 times, because it's such a fascinating book. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Why we do what we do in life and business. An awesome book right there. The fourth book that I want to talk about, and again, guys, you don't have to get the physical book. There's a Kindle version, a hardcover, Audible, a CD. I'd recommend going with either the paperback, or the Audible. I'm a big fan of Audible. But anyways, the fourth book is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And the one thing I really got from this book, and you know, you're going to be able to kind of understand it from the title, is the compound effect. You know, the little things that we do on an everyday basis add up to these huge surmountable things. I mean, really, there was one example in this book where there were two people, and I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit, but there were two people. There was one person who, you know, they were cutting out, I think, like 40 or 50 calories per day from their diet. It was something really low. I don't know if they were just pushing aside a piece of bread per day or pushing aside a little piece of their meal per day. So they were saving 50 calories, one person. And again, I'm paraphrasing. And then there was another person who went out drinking maybe twice a week, and they had, I don't know, maybe an extra 100 calories per day. Not much. You wouldn't think about it, right? You think about, you know, saving 50 calories versus having an extra 100 calories. Like, you probably think to yourself, it doesn't really make a difference. Well, there was a study done over 2 years, and the person who was eating the extra 100 calories weighed so much more than the person who only cut out 50 calories. And these little tiny things in life that we do, not only for our health, but for business, add up to these massive results. And this book just really opened up my eyes to, you know, the compound effect, not only with, you know, self-development and success, but also money. You know, Tony Robbins is a big believer in the compound effect as well, investing money when you're young. And there's some amazing research done on, you know, in terms of finance, of saving money when you're young. And if you build interest on that, you know, and it compounds over 30, 40 years, I mean, you could become a millionaire. It doesn't really talk too much about that in this book from what I remember. But just an amazing book right here, The Compound Effect. Definitely a really good read right there. And if you take a look at the reviews, I mean, there's over 1,300 reviews, 5-star. So that'll definitely tell you something right there. The fifth book that I wanted to share with you guys is a book by MJ DeMarco, The Millionaire Fast Lane, Crack the Code to Wealth and Live Rich. This is a really awesome book because it made me realize that if you want to become a millionaire, right, you've got to climb up the right ladder, right? That's what I got from this book. Many people, you know, they say, I want to be a millionaire, you know, I want to be rich. And, you know, I want to have tons of money. Not that it means everything in the world, but if that's one of your goals, that's great. And it's definitely one of mine. But the problem is most people say they want to be rich. They want to be wealthy. You know, they want to have, you know, boatloads of income and have a successful business and all that. But the problem is, and this is where it comes in, is most people aren't doing anything that's going to be able to equate to being a millionaire, right? Especially in the fast lane. You know, many people are, you know, maybe they're running a small business or they're doing something, you know, it could even be eBay, right? eBay is a great example. You know, a lot of people who follow me, they do eBay, they do Amazon FBA. You're not going to probably become a millionaire doing that because it's not the fast lane. Could you become a millionaire doing eBay and Amazon? Sure, right? But the thing is, there's certain things that you can do to create income fast, and there's other things that are slow. And it's just a big metaphor in this whole book: the fast lane, the slow lane, the quick way to get rich, the slow way to get rich. And I highly recommend this book. This is definitely an awesome book. And again, over 1,000 reviews on this book. I do want to say MJ DeMarco, he doesn't hold anything back. He's kind of a hard ass. So he's going to tell you how it is. And he's not scared to hold back, which is something that I definitely appreciate. Someone who's just being themselves and they say, listen, this is my thoughts. This is my beliefs. If you don't like it, then kiss ma. That's kind of how MJ DeMarco is. But a really good book right there. Excuse me. The next book up, book number 6 out of my top 10 books to read for success, wealth, health, prosperity, and self-development, is a book by a gentleman named David Allen. And the book is called Getting Things Done: The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. And David Allen is an expert when it comes to organization, getting things done, putting systems in place to get things done, to remember things. This is a book right here that I've gone through probably about 2 to 3 times. And the one thing that I want to say about this book is this isn't one of those books that you read passively, right? Don't just read this book passively. This isn't one of these books where you just read through in a week or two and, you know, bada bing, bada boom, you move on with your life. This is the type of book where you need to read a chapter and implement it. You need to read a chapter and implement it, because these are things that you could take action on and that could really, really change your life. And it's just amazing how, you know, for example, let me ask you guys a question. Say that somebody calls you on the phone and they schedule an appointment with you. What's your process for that? What's your process for remembering it? Is it a calendar? Do you have a organizer? What's your process for that? And also, what's your process for remembering that? Let's just say that maybe a day before, the person who you had the appointment with calls you and says, "All right, I can't make it. Call me back in a week to reschedule it." Well, what's your process? What's your system in place to remember that? What's your process for getting things done? And I don't want to spoil this book for you, but David Allen is an absolute genius when it comes to uh, putting systems and things in place to allow you to get things done, to remember things, to it's amazing. Just definitely check this book out. Again, over 1,900 reviews on this book. It's a #1 bestseller. Again, if you're looking for a book to just read passively and not take action on, this is not the book for you, because uh, there's just a lot of things that you're going to have to take action on. I actually want to dive in. Is it going to allow me to? I'm trying to open up the table of contents. It doesn't look like it's going to let me on Amazon. But anyways, definitely check this book out if you're looking to become more productive and get things done. I'm telling you, David Allen, he is the man to learn from. Next on deck, and I believe this is book #7, and this is probably one of my top books. If you were to say, like, Steve, what are maybe your top 3 books to read if you were stuck on a desert island and you could only bring 3 books with you? What would the 3 be? Off the top, I'll tell you, this would definitely be one of them. Jack Canfield. He is the author of what's it called, the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And this book's called The Success Principles. This is actually the 10th anniversary edition. How to get from where you are to where you want to be. And this book actually covers, I believe, 67 success principles. And what I really like about this is, it's not just like a principle, like, for example, set goals. It's a story. Every principle goes into a story that inspires you, that motivates you, to kind of makes it real and kind of paints a picture for you. That's what I really like about this book. But I'm telling you right now, I still remember 6, 7, 8 years ago, being overweight. There was a time where I was 240 pounds. I now weigh about 190 pounds. I was 240 pounds, 50 pounds overweight. I was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes per day. I was just, trust me, I was down in the trenches. I was at the low of my life. I had gotten in trouble when I was younger. I was living at home with my parents. I was dead broke. And this is one of the books that I really attribute to allowing me to change. It really is. There's so many different principles in this book, and I'm actually going to open this up because I want to mention some of them that are in here. Here we go. One of the ones right off the top that has really changed my life as I go into the chapters is a chapter that's called Just Lean Into It. And what I really found amazing about this was the way that Jack Canfield talked about it was like, listen, like, think of it this way, guys. Like, many people, they're scared to do something. Maybe you want to start a business, right? Maybe you want to start a business, maybe an e-commerce business, and you're scared because maybe you've heard about people losing money. You've heard about people getting kicked off their platform. Maybe you've heard how hard it is to drive traffic, or, maybe you're worried about investing time into that business, and you're worried. There's all these fears, there's all these doubts, there's all these limiting beliefs, and that's what stops most people. But what this chapter talks about is just leaning into it. Just do it. Just make it happen. And it really dives into how the most successful people, they just lean into it. Even if they fail at first, even if there's, temporary defeat, just lean into it. Just do it. And it's a great chapter in the book. There's also chapters on take action, experience your fear and take action anyways. Ask. Chapter 17. That was a really good chapter because most people, they want something in life. Like, for example, say you work a 9-to-5 job and you want a raise, right? Well, most people who want a raise, they complain to people about getting a raise. They complain that, I deserve this. I'm a great worker. I should make more money. But the problem is they never ask. Maybe you're in a relationship and, maybe you want to spend more time with your loved one and you're complaining to people, but you never ask. You never speak up. Really good chapter right here for self-development and self-confidence and wealth, health, prosperity. Just an awesome book right here, guys. Again, I don't want to spoil these books for you too much. I kind of just want to bring these to your awareness to let you know that, these have helped me in my life. And these are books that I've read, that I've gone through, and can actually make a difference. I was searching on YouTube earlier looking for, book reviews and top books, just trying to get ideas. And the funny thing is, you hear people talking about these books and you're like, you know what? I don't even think they've read these books. I don't even think they've read the books based on how they're talking about it. But I've read all these books. These books have helped me. They've made a difference. And I highly recommend them to you. The next book up is a book called Eat That Frog, 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating and Get More Done in Less Time by Brian Tracy. If you guys have been learning about self-development and business and improving your life and productivity, and if you haven't heard of Brian Tracy, you must be living under a rock, because this guy is a boss. I love Brian Tracy. He's been in the self-development game for a long time, and this is one of the books that have made the biggest impact in my life, especially for business, and it's called Eat That Frog. And don't worry, for all the vegans and vegetarians out there, I'm actually a vegan myself. No frogs are actually going to be eaten in this book. But really, essentially what this book is telling you to do, and the main concept of this book that I got from it, not to spoil it too much for you, is to take care and accomplish your biggest thing first thing in the morning. Most people, they wake up, and when they go to work or they start their business, maybe if you're an entrepreneur, they start with like the least challenging task. And what that means is people usually start the day off by doing things that don't really have a big impact on their life. Maybe they run a business and they start off by answering emails, or maybe they start off by creating a graphic design, or maybe they start off by, I don't know what it is for you, but they do things, and I've done this before, we do things that don't really make a difference. And it's kind of like the 80-20 rule. Most of us our results will come from the 20%. But the problem is most of us focus on the 80% that doesn't really equate to that 20% of results. So the thing is, start off your day. This is what I got from this book. Start off your day with the actions that make the biggest difference. Take out a pen and a pad, break down your business, say, what are all the actions that are required in my business? And then mark them from 1 to 10 or 1 to 100, however many actions you have, in terms of the actions that make the biggest difference in your business versus the actions that don't really matter as much, that could, that you could put off and that you could wait to do. And then take a look at your top actions that equate to the biggest results in your business, and start off by doing those first thing in the morning. You could apply this to relationships. You could apply this to health. You could apply this to so many areas of your life. But this book, Eat That Frog, which is an international bestseller, and according to this book cover, has sold over 1 million copies. Just a game changer. This is a game changer right here, guys. And this is one of the books that, this should be in the school systems. This should be in the school systems because it's that crazy and important. Next up, I'm not going to dive too much into this book because I'm sure you have heard of it before. I think it's pretty much like the #1 bestseller in self-development. It's a book written by Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich. And I believe this was one of the first books that ever came out breaking down, self-development, success, how people become rich. And this is just one of these books that if you apply it, it will change your life. It gets really big and nitty gritty into the mental aspect of things, which is pretty much where all success comes from. People think that success occurs, on the outer surface, that it's all physical, but it's really all mental. I mean, think of it this way, guys. If you want to grow a garden, of beautiful vegetables and fruits and plants, those plants are only growing, after you water them, because you've taken the time to plant the seed, and thinking of success, it's the seed of the thought, of the decision. So if you want to become rich, or if you want to lose weight, a lot of times people think that it's all about getting into the gym, right? Or it's all about starting the business. And while that is true in the physical outer world, it all started with the thought, the decision, the goal, the mental aspect. You can't lose weight and get into the gym without first having the thought, and the decision to say to yourself, you know what, I want to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to do it, and I'm committed to it. So really, essentially what I'm trying to say is this is really big into the mental game, Think and Grow Rich. And if you want to change your inner game, this is a book for you. And the last book I want to touch on is a book by my main man, Tony Robbins. This book is called Awaken, the Giant Within. I've probably listened to this book on Audible about 8 times. It's not the longest book, and I think you get through it in probably about an hour or maybe 2 hours on Audible. So it's definitely an awesome book. And again, this is another one of those mental game-changing books right here. The one takeaway that I've gotten from this book, one of the big game changers for me is when he talks about power questions. And if you're wondering what power questions are, think of it this way. You know, a lot of times people want to feel happy, or they want to feel successful, or they want to get motivated, but they don't understand how. And Tony talks about asking yourself power questions. So, for example, if you want to wake up in the morning and feel grateful, if you want to feel happy, if you want to feel committed, if you want to feel successful, you've got to ask yourself specific questions to get yourself to think about these things. So, for example, if you want to feel happy, this is what I do in my morning ritual each and every day when I wake up. I go through my power questions. I ask myself, what am I happy about in my life and why? And I could say to myself, well, I'm happy because, I live in America, and I'm in a free country, and I could create the life of my dreams. I'm happy because I weigh 190 pounds and I have a thin, fit, healthy body that gives me the energy to help people and make a difference. I'm happy because I have a healthy family that I get to spend time with and hang out with and love, and this and that. I'm happy because I have this beautiful car that allows me to give me the freedom to be able to, to go picking, because I run an e-commerce business, to be able to travel, to be able to see beautiful things. Then ask yourself other questions like, what am I committed to? And one thing that I would say is I'm 100% committed to exercising each and every day, so I have a thin, fit, healthy body of 180 pounds by July 1st, 2016 or sooner. And I kind of turn my power questions almost into a goal response. You could ask yourself, what am I grateful for? And you could say, I'm grateful to have 2 arms and 2 legs, and to be able to smell and to have all my senses. I'm grateful to, have a beautiful girlfriend, or I'm grateful for, to be able to have enough money, to be able to have a beautiful apartment, to have enough, to have a business that gives me my freedom to be able to make a difference and help people. I'm grateful to, have a YouTube channel of almost 30,000 people, to be able to, spread the positive word, to make a difference in people's lives, to help them to pay their bills, to save up for their kids' college tuition. And I'm asking myself all these questions, and already right now, just by doing this, I'm feeling good. Like, I'm feeling really, really good. I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling committed, because I'm putting myself in that state by asking myself these power questions. So in the book, Awaken, the Giant Within, you're going to learn about a lot of different things, but the big key takeaway that I got was the power questions right there. And it's definitely something I recommend each and every one of you get into if you're going to go through a morning routine, or even if you're feeling down during the day. Maybe, you're going through some challenges, or you're just having a rough day. Take a few minutes to go into your car, if you can, or a quiet place, and just ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself, what am I happy about? What am I grateful for in my life? What am I committed to achieving? And it's just a game changer right there for sure. So just to recap real quick, the 10 books that I recommend that you guys read: The Miracle Morning, 6 Months to Six Figures by Peter Voogd, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, The Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ DeMarco, Getting Things Done by David Allen, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and Awaken, the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. These are definitely my top 10 books to read for success, wealth, health, prosperity, and self-development. These are books that I've gone through. Well, most of them I've gone through several times. And again, I want to say, if you want to check out these books, I do have links to them in the description, and I definitely appreciate it if you went through the links, and I'd get a little commission right there, which definitely helps me to continue to make these videos and keep spreading the positive word for you guys, and helping you out as much as possible. But with that being said, I'm going to jump into the comment section and answer any questions that you folks have to say. I'm going to just refresh my screen right here. Also, guys, if you like this video, hit the like button. I definitely would appreciate that. and helps to get this video out for more and more people. So smash that like button, show some love. If you guys also have some books in the live feed that you recommend, definitely drop a comment in the comments section below. But I'm going to shout some people out and say hello. We've got Kayla H in the comments saying GTD, which is Get Things Done, is an awesome system. It lets you capture everything in a system that you trust so that your mind is not swirling with your to-do list. And that's a really good point that you made just now, Kayla, because a lot of times, you know, with the book that David Allen wrote, Getting Things Done, a lot of times we're so, you know, consumed with, you know, all the things that we have to do, and it's in the back of our mind. Oh, we got to pick up our kid from soccer, we got to get this done, we've got a webinar that we have to do, we have a video we have to make, we have a shipment we have to get out, and it's all just consuming, excuse me, it's all consuming our brain, and it's taking up that mental space. And he talks a lot about how there's only so much space in your brain, and by having all these things that you have to do that aren't in a system that you have to remember, it takes a lot out of you. So having a trusted system is big. And the book by David Allen, Getting Things Done, is one of those books that I highly recommend. D. John Dang, what's going on? Raiken, what's going on, man? Parker Profis, what's up? What's up? Nothing much, man. Thanks for checking out this broadcast. Mr. Dang says, what about Dave Ramsey's book about business, bro? Have you heard about it? I haven't looked too much into Dave Ramsey. I don't think I've ever read any of his books, but my father, who is big into education as well, I know he's a big fan of Dave Ramsey. I'm not sure if he's read any of his books, but I know he's listened to some of his stuff on the radio and whatnot. But definitely something I may look into in the future. Kayla's saying that's a great book. Let's see. I'm just looking through the comments to see if there's any other questions coming in. What's going on, Mr. Sadie123? Thanks for coming in and hanging out live. Brandon Lee, thanks for all the great content and live shows. Brandon, good to see you in the comment section. Hope everything is going well for you and your family. We got Les Bumek in the house. Steve's fan here. Oh, I got a fan in the house. I'm glad to hear. But that's about it, guys. Doesn't look like there's any more comments coming in. Hopefully you enjoyed this live broadcast. I just wanted to share with you guys my top 10 books to read for success, wealth, health, prosperity, and self-development. Books that have helped me, that have changed my life, books that I've actually read and gone through and I found value in, because there's so many books out there, guys. I mean, we're living in the information age. It's 2016. There are millions of books out there. And I just wanted to kind of break down the ones that I've found has really had the biggest impact on my life, which has allowed me to grow and develop. And again, guys, I mean, just to give you some context, 2008, 250 pounds. I had gotten in trouble. I was at my lowest low. I was living at home with my parents. I was living, broke, had a crappy job. And, now, I'm not a millionaire or anything, but I'm 200, excuse me, I'm not 200. I'm 190 pounds. I quit smoking 2 packs of cigarettes. I mean, I lost over 50 pounds. I run multiple businesses. I live in a beautiful community. I have my own place, moved out of my parents' house. And, I've grown a YouTube channel to almost 30,000 subscribers, run a membership site. And I'm not here to brag and boast because, again, I'm just an average guy. But really, I've changed my life, and I accredit a lot of that to these books. So again, this isn't about me, guys. I'm not trying to, I hate kind of just talking about my successes. I love to talk about it to myself, but I don't want to feel like I'm bragging or anything, because I'm just an average guy. But I've changed my life in so many areas, from, business, finances, health, relationships, and I've shifted my circle of influence dramatically, and I really think these books could help you guys out. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Hopefully you all have a terrific day, and again, if you've got something to do, make it happen today. Check out the books, links in the description. Wish you the best of luck, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.